Okay, we're going to start things off right in the program here, and even though this is mostly going to be a tutorial about rigging up a character in Toon Boom Animate, I'm going to start off with drawing a character out here real quick, because a lot of the setup in rigging a character also has to do with how you brought the character in, or if you drew it in from scratch, and we'll talk a little bit about both, but probably the easiest thing actually is if you were to draw it within the program, although that's definitely not a requirement. But so anyway, what I'm going to do is try to do this as quick as possible. I really like the drawing tools that that Animate has if you're using a Wacom tablet, okay? Because you can do a lot of well, just it feels like a piece of paper that you're drawing on. But if it takes me a while, I think what I'll end up doing is probably kind of time shifting this video a little bit, like speeding things up, just to get to kind of the meat of it, which will be actually rigging the character. But this will be a good little review for some of you guys as well. And you know, one thing I should know too is that I've got to kind of trim down user interface right now. You can see over here I've just got tool properties and color on the right bar. And part of that is just to give myself a little bit more horizontal space for this screen capture area. But floating out here, I've got my library, and I've also got my layer properties, which I find quite useful to have among these tabs, but we'll bring them in a little bit later. And it is actually really important, I think, to have that library open most of the time. So let's do this. Let's start off with a brush, and again, since I am using a Wacom, this is going to be sensitive to kind of how lightly I draw through here like that. You can see I got some nice lines there. So let's do a kind of simple character. This will be a cowboy, hence the name of this here. And you know what? To make it as simple as possible, what I'm going to do is just kind of do like an egg shape. And there's nothing wrong with your computer screen right now. You are seeing me just kind of doing the same circle over and over again here. And this is actually kind of a technique I learned from one of my Cartoon Smart instructors, Mike McNerland. He tends to just hit the undo button like crazy until he gets that perfect shape. And you know, I think that is a good enough kind of egg body right there. And what we'll do is we'll kind of split this in half. All right, so now that would be like his belt. Let's do a little circle right there. Great thing about these Wacoms is if you were to turn the mouse around like I just did, I flipped like literally I mean not the mouse, the pen that I'm holding. I flip it upside down and it turns into an eraser. Okay, so you go through an erasing, but there is an eraser over here as well. And hey, you know what? This looks like a pretty good body right here. Let's do this. Let's also kind of do a little bit of a belt. And kind of the fun part about drawing in a character is you get these kind of weird things that you would never really think to do if you're using vector illustration tools. You know, I'd probably start with a perfect circle and just bend it slightly, but now I've got some sort of kind of weird hunch up there, and you know, all these unintentional things that after the fact you go, yeah, that's what I meant to do. So let's begin painting this guy in, and we'll go over here to paint. And by the way, I do actually have my mouse off to the right side. My keyboard is a little bit beyond my Wacom tablet or Wacom tablet. So I've kind of got an array of all sorts of different things that I'm using, and I guess you'll never really know which one it is. But if you see me kind of go the slow way sometimes to grab tools, it's because I'm not hotkeying it, or maybe sometimes I will remember to do that. But let's take a look at the color panel. And you know, one of the most useful things about this is that you can, let's see, where is it? Do I have to get out here? Yeah, I gotta move this out a little bit. You can click right here, and you'll see that you're using kind of their default colors. What you probably want to do is each time you have a new project, actually, let's go and add, there we go, palette name. We'll call this cowboy, and then I have almost no colors. I just have the default black. So let's go over here and start a new color. So I'm going to double click on this, and let's see. Let's go ahead and grab some browns. And actually, I didn't realize that this was going to happen, but this is kind of a nice thing. When I was practicing for this lesson, I was kind of setting up some browns and stuff like that. So what I would do is I'd go through here, find a color that I liked, maybe move it out this way, whatever I was doing, and then I go, okay, well, I like this color, and then I notice, hey, there's this little plus sign down here, so I experimented with adding that in there. And I guess what this does is it just kind of keeps maybe the 20 most recent colors. To be honest, I don't exactly know, but I did find it very useful. Another thing I thought was really nice is this feature. So let's say I'm going to go grab a green, right? Let's find a nice green. You get all these various shades of it over here. All right, so let's say I wanted to do half this body with a light source hitting it. Okay, so I might pick that green. So I'll add that over here, okay, now I've got it. All right, so that's in there. Then I'm going to go click on this plus sign again, click on this, double click, and you'll notice that this green still stays in here. Okay, so that was like your last color. And then, again, you've got like these most recent swatches down this way. And boom, you're done. All right, so, and actually I didn't actually need to put it down here, but I just did that anyway. So anyway, that's a really nice way of finding all those various kind of offset shades for different colors. I keep forgetting to double click. I'm not used to actually double clicking with the Wacom pen, but you know what? I want kind of traditional brown jeans. So let's see, double click, or how about there we go. Nope. Well, I guess I had it on single wheel mode before. All right, so click on there. And let's double click on this again. Actually, let's just right there, double click. Okay, here's a few more colors. Let's grab this guy. Click out of that. So that's a bit darker, almost a black actually. Click in there. Oh, and it looks like, I know that's kind of hard to see, but I actually selected the one of the black lines and I made it brown. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. Click on this and let's look for something kind of goldish for his belt. Oh man, I just can't get over how much I like this right here, because that's kind of what you're always looking to do anyways. Go, well, let me see a color one up or one down from that, click on that guy, and finally, I know we're setting up a lot of colors here, but let's go grab. Give him a nice looking blue shirt there. Okay, let's do this. Let's go down here. I'm going to double click on the where it says drawing right there, and I'm just going to call this body so we can kind of keep track of our layers. And let's do this. Let's go ahead and add another layer. Click up this way. Go grab this again. Let's make sure we're on black. And let's start thinking about the arms. Now, one of the main reasons that I'm doing this tutorial is to kind of show you guys how you're going to rig something and how you're going to set up the various body parts, the joints, the articulations, things like that, but also use the inverse kinematics. And when I was just doing kind of testing before, I was creating arms that were kind of like little sock puppet arms like that, and I didn't actually do any sort of bend for the joint because I just figured, well, I'll swap out that arm for another symbol. Or another drawing when I needed it of a slightly different bent shape. And that's pretty easy if you're doing simple arms like this, because it's not hard to go and go, okay, well, here, I've just made 4 variations of the same arm. But kind of for the purposes of teaching, what we'll do is kind of do top halves of arms, and then I'll come down here and do like the bottom half like that. And actually this is a good example in itself. So I've just drawn out 2 lines like this, and they're not intersecting with my body. Okay, they are on their own layer, and in fact what we could do is call this arm top half like that. And why was that not valid? Arm top. You know what, it might not like me having a space in the name there. Let's just call it arm 1 then. Nope, that works. But what I need to do, and actually let's just make the body invisible so this is a little bit more clear, is go over here to my paint tool and click on close gap, and with that tool on, what I'm going to do is just kind of slice a section of this arm like that. Okay, you get this kind of hot green line. It's giving you some indication that you're not just drawing like normal there. Maybe the best indication of this message that pops up, and if I wasn't thinking about instructing you guys, I would have long ago clicked off don't show me this message again, because I know what this tool does, but for the purposes of teaching, I just kind of want to make sure this does pop up, and it says you've added a stroke, but it will not be visible unless you activate show strokes from the view menu. So what's it doing there? Well, it has made this kind of invisible stroke on the stage. Of course, now you can't see it, but when I go to paint this object, it's going to register that I've intersected this line and this line. Now I've done it twice, and let's go over here to regular paint mode, or regular paint tool, and I forgot what color we're using here. Oh yeah, this blue. So let's now click on this, and sure enough, filled in with that stroke across there. And let's go create another layer. This time, if I'd paid attention to my anatomy classes at the School of Visual Arts, I would probably know what the bottom half of the arm is called. But what the heck. Okay, let's get back over here to this guy. And it's kind of bearing down a little bit too hard there. Well, that's one way of drawing that part of the arm. You know what? I think what I'll do is I'll close that off, and let's just pretend this guy is some sort of gunfighter, and maybe he's wearing some sort of gloves like that, and we'll call that arm done. Okay, let's go and add another drawing layer, and we're going to keep piling those up. I guess I do have a little bit of space extra up in my drawing area, so we'll give us a little bit more room for layers. So again, I am on my drawing layer here, and I'm going to go for simplicity. It's a very simple way to do hands. If you just kind of sketch them in there like that. Look at that. That is a nearly perfect hand. Kind of kidding. Kind of not, though, too. Okay, click on. I'm just. Actually, all I was trying to do there was just double clicking this area, but I guess I did something. There we go. I double clicked out of that, and it gave me a whole other set of layer properties. Okay, let's see. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to actually pause the video or actually I won't pause it. I'll leave it running, but I'll use some of my tricks to kind of speed things up. So when you see things going in fast moment in a second, don't think that you've gone crazy or it's on fast forward. I'm going to come back basically when this drawing is done, and then we're going to talk about what we got to do to set up these as symbols and all the rest of it. Alright, I kind of forgot there that I can actually talk through these fast forwards, so I guess I didn't need to give you guys such an introduction to just tell you again, hey, look at me, I'm going through this quicker than I should be, and yeah, you're not seeing me do anything with tools that you hadn't just seen me do. One thing though is, look at that, I zoomed in and cleaned up a bit with the eraser. Sometimes I even forget that that's possible. That once you've drawn something, it's not set in stone. Did a little kind of ugly cross-hatching over there. Again, that's not something that I would normally do if I was building things out of squares and circles and altering them that way. But you know, you kind of change your style based on the medium. And for me today, that is at least using a Wacom tablet or Wacom. I've heard people say both. I like Wacom. Sounds like something else, Star Wars. Actually, look at his nose. I tried a few things here. Nope. A little too wide. Not wide enough. Perfect. And actually, I had a little trouble closing that thing. I don't think my, when I did the kind of invisible stroke through that to close it off was good enough. And so eventually all I did is I just took the brush tool and just kind of sketched it in there like that. Another thing that you know, all these years of using vector illustration tools exclusively, it's like I'm kind of relearning how to almost paint and do stuff like that. Okay, little beady eyes. That's not what I was originally thinking, but then I figured, hey, you know what? Why not? Although I wasn't really going for it in the beginning, I kind of realized this looks a little bit like what that guy that does the Mutz cartoon draws like, with these kind of thin hands and like little thin feet like this. He does a very good job of drawing that cat with just all black. All right. Okay, we're in real time now.